Our mental health is important in every stage of life, from our adolescent years through adulthood. It is the foundation of how we approach our day-to-day lifestyles internally as well as externally.
Mental health and greater health awareness is so important to me because I've witnessed the hardships of struggling with your own mental health and not knowing where to turn next.
Mental health is important because it's your internal indicator to see how you're doing. You can look great on the outside and you can be smiling and you can be friendly, but you could also be suffering on the inside.
I've struggled with my mental health. That has led me to do research on the state of access to mental health care in the United States.
A study found that more than 25% of college students have been diagnosed or treated for a mental health condition. And then almost 73% of students with a mental health condition experience a mental health crisis on campus.
Before the pandemic, to be completely honest, I was unaware of what exactly mental health was, and it was always a gray territory to me. Living the same life day in and day out, with many weeks being tainted with unmotivation to do anything, COVID has truly changed my perspective on the way we view the happiness of people.
In my lifetime, I've definitely seen a trend of people growing up as kids, being happy, healthy, confident in their own skin, and then slowly becoming more insecure into their teen years as they internalize more negative messages about their body and appearance.
I have always believed in the importance of student mental health, but such beliefs were strengthened when I lost my boyfriend of 3 years to suicide about a month ago. He was also a student, yet he dealt with depression privately. Through this internship, I want to clear any signs of embarrassment with students so that they can feel open enough to share about their struggles.
I want people to learn self-love, respect, and confidence and be able to carry those skills throughout their lifetime.
I'm so passionate about the work I'm doing to reduce stigma and provide greater resources for people who want to talk about their mental health, and I'm excited to continue doing so through working with Neolth.
Welcome, everyone. Hi, my name is Catherine Grill. I am the CEO and co-founder of Neolth, and really excited that you're all here with us today. So this is a special event where we will be showcasing the work of some of the amazing students that we have been working with this summer. So we'll have our student content creators on the call who you'll actually see in the video and during Q&A. We have family and friends from those students, and of course our student ambassadors who are joining this call. So welcome to everyone. The students that you'll see in these videos have been working with us as content creators this summer to make videos about their lived experiences to break down stigma for other students. The work that they're doing is so powerful and so impactful. I'm incredibly proud of the videos that you're about to see. Before we get started, I just want to quickly go over the agenda for the event. So as you probably saw when you entered the meeting, we are recording this event, so it's available for you to view and share with friends afterwards. Please keep yourself on mute. Google Meet will only record the screen of the person who's talking, so if you're on mute, you will not be recorded. So just please take a moment to check that you are in fact on mute so your microphone doesn't interrupt the video feed from the content creators. Today we have 5 students who are going to be sharing their video content with you. After showing the videos, we'll have a brief Q&A with each student. I will moderate this, and since we're a large group, we ask if you have any questions for them, please put those questions into the chat, and you can put the @ and the name of the person who you're asking the question for. We'll try to get to all of the questions, and if time permitting, we'll be able to do that. Otherwise, we might answer some questions directly through the chat. So thank you all for being here with us today, and now it's time for us to get started. Okay, so the first student whose content you'll be viewing is Clarissa Ramos. Clarissa is a high school student whose video series was about different aspects of mental health, from self-care to navigating the mental health care landscape within the US. The clip that you'll be watching is called My Self-Care Routine Taking a Walk and features a day in Clarissa's life and what she does to take care of her mental health. We hope you enjoy.
It's time for my walk. I live in very American suburbia. I live decently close to a shopping center. So I like walking there and then window shopping or getting something at Starbucks. Yesterday I went to Ross to buy a marble cheese board because I don't know, I'm obsessed with cheese. And that just felt like what I wanted to do. My neighborhood has a good amount of trees, so even just walking around it feels naturey enough, vibrant enough that it's relaxing. Flowers. I smell food. I smell food. I smell spices. Someone's cooking. I live in a very multi-ethnic neighborhood, so every so often I'll just smell good food and I'm like, I really want food now. I've lived in the same house since I was in the middle of 2nd grade. And I'm going into 11th grade now. So when I walk around, it just incites a lot of childhood memories. This passageway, one time I decided I was gonna pick up trash around the street, and that apartment building has so many cigarette butts outside. So I was just I'm gonna go and pick up all the cigarette butts. And that was honestly relatively recently, and now there's just back to there being so many more cigarette butts because apparently people can't throw away their own trash. This passageway has greenery on both sides, so I love it. I'm very grateful to live in a place that puts so much effort into making it feel vibrant. I mean, it's a busy street, but it still feels decently connected with nature, and I love that. So my mom, she grew up in East Los Angeles. So she said in her neighborhood there were no trees. And when she would visit her aunt in Pasadena, there would be trees all along the sidewalk. Pasadena is considered to be more affluent neighborhood than where my mom grew up in East LA. So moving here, my mom felt like she had made it because she moved to a neighborhood with trees. I kind of love that, but I also feel bad for the people who live in neighborhoods that don't have as many trees. Because I mean, trees aren't the only resource they lack, you know? Trees can do so much to brighten the environment. Even when you feel everything is going wrong, you still have the trees. I was thinking that I would be able to get ice cream at Rite Aid, but then I realized that I don't have any cash on me, so I'm probably gonna go to Starbucks because I have money loaded in the Starbucks app already. I don't carry a physical wallet, so I feel at least once a day I Google if a certain retailer accepts Apple Pay. I don't know, I feel I depend on my phone. In many ways I depend on my phone too much, but it is what it is. My bank now accepts Apple Pay for taking money out of the ATM, and that honestly doesn't feel the most secure thing ever. Because what if someone steals someone's phone and then they use it to get cash somewhere? I don't know, that feels dangerous. Whenever I go to Starbucks, I like to get something I've never gotten before, so I got some like green tea latte. I was gonna get a cake pop, but I've actually been trying to kick my Starbucks habit. I didn't have enough money loaded onto my gift card to like be able to get a cake pop, but whatever, I can eat at home, there's food at home, and I don't, my mom wants me to go back home like right now, so gotta do that. But I have fun, like, I don't know, just something simple, something as simple as like going on a walk and getting something at Starbucks brings me so much joy. Like, but I've been trying to like shift from Starbucks to getting into cheese boards. I like really intentionally savoring my first few sips of the beverages that I order. I feel like this green tea latte, I don't know if I'm not a green tea person or if I'm not a latte person or if I just don't really like the combination of the two. Like, it's not my vibe. I really appreciate you being willing to watch the whole of this very chaotic video. Thank you. Also, this is like the 6th video I've made for Neolth, and I'm just proud I've gotten this far, and I'm appreciative. So, thank you.
So thank you, Clarissa, for sharing that video with us. I wanted to do just a single question for Clarissa, and we'll see her again in the group Q&A. Clarissa, what encouraged you to make exercise part of your self-care routine?
I realized that I wasn't exercising enough. So my whole school year for the past year has been remote, even like when we had my school district gave us a choice to do hybrid or remote, I chose remote. So the only time I had gone back in campus was when I took the PSAT. And so I ran from the test room to the bathroom on my school campus, and I was like puffing. And so I realized I needed to get back into like exercising more because it wasn't even that long of a passage. So also getting outside for at least like an hour a day is recommended by health professionals. So I'm trying to like get outside more. And also, like, the whole time the video was playing, I just couldn't stop laughing at myself.
Thanks, Clarissa. I'm glad you had so much fun with it. Clarissa has a whole video series that we're going to release on our app where she talks about her own mental health journey and what she does for self-care and to take care of herself. So it was really a pleasure to work with Clarissa this summer. The next content creator that we're going to feature is Margaret. Margaret is a 20-year-old college student attending the College of William and Mary as a psychology major. She's passionate about body positivity and self-love and aims to help everyone learn to love their unique bodies. She created this video series to help young students like herself feel less alone and learn self-love and confidence along the way. The video that you'll be watching in a moment is called Body Stories and discusses the pressure that young people feel from beauty standards in society. We hope that you enjoy.
When we're born, we're a blank slate. The world is new and bright to us. But as we grow up into a little person, we start to learn more about the world around us, especially the world of food. We might begin to learn lessons about food at family dinners. The rules of food become laid out to us. We learn that there's certain limits on how much we can eat. There's rules about who can eat certain foods, how we're supposed to approach food. It can be overwhelming. You might hear things like, "Are you really going to eat all that? Didn't you just eat? You can't leave the table until you're finished." "Oh no, I'm not going to eat tonight. I'm trying to watch my figure." It's not ladylike to eat like that. That's too much. Or, that's not enough. So many rules. There are rules to food. We learned that there's even two different groups of food. There's good foods, and there's bad foods. Apparently, food has a moral weight. It's either good or bad. But why, we may have asked as a kid? Why isn't ice cream good for me? Why can't I eat chips for breakfast? Because it's not healthy was the answer. But we come to learn that health has a lot more to do with looks than it does with how you feel. And just as you can be either healthy or unhealthy, you can be skinny or fat. And that's it. So you've learned about food and health. You know the rules now. You should be healthy, you should eat fruits and veggies, and you know what you shouldn't do. But now you need to learn how you should look and act. Maybe you learn from TV and movies. You snuggle up with family and friends for a movie night, and you see that there's rules there too. There's two different types of girls, pretty and ugly. And there's things you have to do to be the pretty girl. Lose weight, straighten your hair, wear tighter clothes. More rules, more expectations. When you grow older, you may download Instagram or TikTok or social media to keep up with friends, but you're met with even more rules and expectations. How you should look, what you should eat, how your pictures should look. There's even more people to compare yourself to. You can't escape it. Everywhere you look. Ads, magazines, social media. There are bodies everywhere that don't look like you. And you think to yourself, why don't I look like that? What's wrong with me? You go to meet up with friends, have a good time, socialize, and you find out that they feel the same way. They look at themselves and see nothing but problems and insecurities. "I feel so fat right now," they say. "I look so ugly today. I hate my body." "I need to go on a diet. There must be something wrong with me. I have a problem." But don't worry, you know how to fix it. More rules, more restrictions. You know all the rules. You've seen the magazines, you've seen the ads, you've seen the YouTube videos. You know exactly what to do. All you have to do is tell yourself no. Again and again and again. But every time you feel like you fix one problem with the way you look, another one pops up in its place. Is my waist small enough? Is my nose too big? Is my hair long enough? Are my legs long enough? Are my feet too big? Is my nose too big? Are my hips wide enough? Is my smile wide enough? Is my hair too curly? Am I enough? You are enough. You are a whole, beautiful person. But if you live according to somebody else's standards, you will never be enough. If you continue to compare yourself to diet ads, social media influencers, media, your family and friends' expectations of you, you will never be enough. But if you live for yourself, if you live for the love and joy of your own body, you will always be enough.
I see a lot of clapping. It was a really, really powerful video. Thank you, Margaret, for making that and sharing it with us. We have one question for Margaret, who will then join us again during the group Q&A. Margaret, what was the goal of your video series?
So the goal of my video series was to hopefully make people who are dealing with these issues of body insecurity or body image issues, hopefully make them feel less alone. But I also did want to draw attention to this big issue that is that how many people my age especially feel insecure, don't feel confident in their bodies. And I think for a while we've been thinking about these issues as like, oh, it's just what you go through as a teen girl, or you just have to get through it. Like you're gonna feel insecure. That's part of the deal. But I think that it doesn't have to be that way. And I kind of wanted to make this video series to shed light on this real issue that's happening that has real repercussions, but also hopefully make people feel less alone along the way and feel like they're joining with me on like a journey to self-love.
Thank you, Margaret. And for those of you who don't know, Margaret is actually part of our ambassador program as well and leads the Body Positive subcommittee, which is a group who works around body positivity and body image. And I think has been so helpful for students across the country to be able to work together on this. And like Margaret said, know that it's something that affects so many of us and that you're not alone. So really grateful for Margaret for being part of this program and for sharing this video with us. Like Clarissa, Margaret made an entire video series about her experience with body image and body positivity, and that will all be released on our app throughout the school year. So keep an eye out for that. We're really excited to share that content with you. So all of these videos so far have been edited by one of our fabulous video editors, Paula Bianchi, and this is the third and last video from Paula's group from our content creator, Tanush. So Tanush is a rising junior in high school who attends Westward Academy in Massachusetts. As much of his life revolves around high school, he thought it right to discuss the stresses students go through that are very rarely brought to light. He shares tips that have mitigated much of his stress, as well as gives advice to help manage procrastination and productivity. So today we'll be showing a clip from one of his videos entitled How to Be More Productive and Get into the Zone, where Tanush discusses procrastination and gives tips to students about creating and sticking to a schedule.
Welcome to the fifth Neolth video. So today's video will be kind of similar to the last one about tips and stuff to do to kind of ensure that you have a much better academic life and just a general life in high school, because I mean, I feel like I didn't finish the last video, um, and my thoughts that I had in the last video. But keep in mind though, this video will be pretty short, pretty condensed because I think a lot of what I have said and what I'm going to say is pretty straightforward. And just as a disclaimer, a lot of this journey that you take during high school, will have to go along with your terms. You need to find what's right for you because what I might say is not going to be applicable for you or for anyone really. That being the case, I can still give you guys tips and tell you, what I had to do to match my situation, match my personality, match my, traits. So number one, I'd work in a location that is generally both clean and quiet. And the clean part, you can definitely make sure that happens, whether it's your desk in your room. By the way, I don't suggest you work in your room because that's the same place as your bed, and I have been tempted to do my work on the bed with bad posture, and it just generally ends up in me sleeping. But that's not the point. If you do work, around your house or something like that, and you can't ensure this part about being quiet, of having a quiet location, regardless, like I've worn noise canceling headphones and my dining table, which is where I sit to do my work, still gets super loud, which makes sense. But what I have done is to go to the local coffee shop, which it doesn't have to be a local coffee shop. It can be a muffin shop, Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks, whatever, and a library. These two locations are really good for me because it puts me away from the distractions that kind of surround me at home. And, these are the places like home is where I can fool around, talk to my mom, talk to my dad, and, just get a snack to eat and then watch TV and do stuff like that. And I'm just isolated from my family. And also, it's kind of hard. Like what I normally do to, pass time is play video games, which I can't do if I go to a library or talk to my friends, in a call or whatever, which you can't do in a library or a Starbucks. Like you can't really talk to people there. I mean, I guess you could, but it wouldn't really work. And I also suggest, I mean, this is also up to you, but you should probably work with someone whenever you have homework to do. I am totally not opposed to that. But please do choose wisely. I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent here. I think that there's a lot of kids that I could reach out to work with. But the problem arises with whether you are productive with said person. So like let's just think about priorities, right? Are you trying to work with music in your ears and you have someone that's like talking to you and you guys are just laughing and you're on your phones? Like is that what you're trying to do, or do you want to work with utmost productivity and utmost focus, therefore getting the things done that you went to the library or went to your dining hall, you know, to set yourself up to do? Like what is your priority? Because like if it's the latter, right, if you want to go and kind of fool around, talk to people, and like go to the library, for example. I mean, I've seen this happen. It's happened to me, right, where I would sit with my friend and it would just turn into us talking and having a conversation because we're not getting we're not getting our stuff done, right? Would you want that? Because if that's what you want, then you shouldn't even bring your work. You guys should just hang out. There's literally no point in going to any kind of place if you're not going to set yourself up to work. I mean, obviously having some chit chatter here and there is good, but I feel like it kind of takes away from the main point of a library, which is to have a quiet, place with no distractions, right? And I think it's a really important point is to make your decisions based off your priorities. If your priority is to hang out with someone, then hang out with them not in the library. But if your priority is to get stuff down, then choose the person that you hang out with pretty wisely because do you want to while away your time or have a good study session with this person, come home and then, you know, feel better, right? And so these are really good tips for when you want to get into the zone, right? When you want to kind of get things done. If you want, the place where you want to accomplish things. The second part is maintaining a good routine, which I did talk about before. So in order to maintain a good routine, you need to account that your brain, like, I talked about the blocks before, but right now you need to account for the fact that your brain will be fatigued eventually throughout the day. And I mean, at least that's what happened to me, right? And so what I tend to do is obviously take breaks and try to go outside in an effort to refuel. But refueling is really important because that's kind of it's like a car, right? You can't finish a 400-mile road trip on one, full tank. You kind of need to stop at the gas station every now and then to get a refuel, right? So for me, like going outside is a really good way to refuel, and the ultimate recharge I'd say is definitely getting some exercise, like playing a sport or running, which is what I've tended to do. Um, and these activities can be really helpful. So for me to make sure that my brain doesn't get fatigued and has a lot of oxygen, and I can go back to my workplace and kind of start with a fresh mind. So also, I would also suggest that a really good break from hard work.
So just to show a clip of that video, and Tanisha has a whole video series where he talks about his experience in high school. So one question for Tanisha, and then we're actually going to bring out the whole group of creators we just saw for a bit of group Q&A. You chose to cover a few different topics in your video series, and procrastination was one of them. Can you tell us why you chose this topic?
So I think the biggest reason why I chose procrastination is because, um, I mean, this isn't really talked about in this video, but in a lot of the previous videos, I kind of highlighted how, and this ties back into mental health. I was very, very mad at myself and I was in a very like depressed state for much of the first year of high school, as well as a little bit of middle school, because I was just sitting on my butt and I wasn't doing anything. I would do homework at the last minute. I would stay up all night. And the thing is, it wasn't like I was doing any huge activities. Like I wasn't having a job for like 5 hours a day that's forcing me to do work late at night. And I think that I wasted a lot of my time on YouTube and Netflix and playing video games. And it was just like I felt so disgusted with myself that I just wanted to make put an end to it. So I kind of like even today I still do think about the fact that much of my middle school and a little bit of my high school was wasted on things that I didn't really enjoy, and they were just alternatives to work. And I felt kind of mad at myself about that. Instead of improving and having a kind of growth in my personality and who I am as a person, I spent it on things that don't define me. YouTube does not define me. And so I decided to kind of make a video about procrastination because I know a lot of my friends deal with the same thing. I see them staying up till 2 a.m., 3 a.m. doing homework that could have been done at 3 p.m. And it's just like I just kind of wanted to make a change. Um, and much of the reason that I even talk about procrastination in the first place is because I've mentioned this to the people that I work with. I love recording and making these kind of videos because it's a form of therapy and it kind of it opens a bunch of doors and it's more reflection than me talking to you guys in camera. I feel and so when I talk about procrastination, these issues that I faced and how to build routines, it's helpful to me too. So I think that these are the different reasons why I chose the topic.
Thanks so much for sharing with that. I know we've talked about this before, and I think that's really um, a really cool aspect of this. You mentioned just how you learned so much through this process and you really were able to reflect and think about things that you struggled with in school and then create a video series around it to try to help other students who might be going through the same thing. So would like to take a moment to bring all the creators you just saw back kind of onto our virtual stage. So it's Tanish, Margaret, Clarissa, and of course our video editor, Paula, and do a bit of a group Q&A. So of course, if anyone has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, but would love to spend some time with these creators talking a bit more about their videos. So my first question for the group is, what was it like being on camera and talking about your story?
I can answer this one, right? Yeah. So I think that I think it's really based on your personality. I think for the first video, I had a lot of trouble, and it was like kind of not myself in front of a camera. But I think I my personality is like kind of more outgoing. I like to talk to people. I like to talk in general. So I think after the first video, obviously that happened because I was new to everything with this internship, and this is my first video. But after that, I just realized like I can just be myself, and I think it's really based on your personality and of course also the topic that you talk about. And for me, talking about procrastination and school and friends and whatever, it's not too I guess emotionally draining. So I don't think it was much of a trouble for me after the first video. So yeah.
I found making videos to be really fun because I'm comfortable with talking on camera. Throughout the course of the internship, I got better at like the technical aspects of like lighting and making sure that I was talking loudly and clearly enough so that it would the final version would be the best it could possibly be. But overall, I really enjoyed my experience.
Yeah, similarly to Tanush, I definitely struggled with the first video the most. And one of the things that was really impacting me was I'm a very private person, so I was just nervous about speaking on camera about my own issues. And I don't know, I was so nervous. It was something I'd never done before. And so after I got through that first video, the first video I filmed was actually like a very personal video, which is funny. And it was about like my whole story with body image and eating. And after I filmed that, I just realized like how powerful it is to see someone on camera be vulnerable. I think that's something that really helped me when I was struggling with issues, was like watching YouTube videos and watching people be vulnerable and talk about these things. So I was thinking if I can do that for someone else, like that'd be great. So it just showed me how powerful it is sometimes to be vulnerable and how there's a lot of like strength and courage in that.
Thanks everyone for sharing, and I think that's a great point Margaret makes. Is just being vulnerable and being on camera to share our stories and to break down stigma, and that's really the whole goal of this project and what we've been working on. Another question for the group, so anyone who wants to answer, jump on in. What do you hope that other students learn from your videos?
I'll take this one again, I guess. I think, oh, okay. I think what I hope people learn from my videos is, well, a lot of my videos, all of them actually talked about, procrastination, social life, and whatever. And so I think the biggest thing that I want them to know is that they're not alone. Because I know a lot of people that go through the same issues, which is, they have toxic friendships, they struggle in school, and it's just like I see this just like in Margaret's video where she talked about how um, it's a commonality with a lot of people to where they think, wow, my body's not right. Similarly, a lot of people in my school, my friends, the people that I actually do consider my friends, all deal with academic stress, stress from parents, and just doing work at 5 a.m. is something that's really common with a lot of them. So I figured that the biggest thing that I want them to take away, the people that watch these videos, that they're not alone. Um, and that it's something that can get through. And then the second biggest thing is that they should learn from them, right? Because I'm someone that's already gone through high school, and I hope to keep people that, I mean, not gone through it, but I'm in my second year, and I hope people, wherever they are in their high school process or even in middle school, they can learn from it.
Um, I don't really think I have something specific that I would want someone to learn from my videos. I just hope that they find them helpful or insightful in some way, shape, or form.
I definitely hope that people learn a different version of like self-care and health through watching my videos. And I hope that people begin to think about it instead of being about looking a certain way or about doing certain things and that everyone else is doing. I hope that people learn how to listen to their own bodies, like listen to their intuition and create something that works for them and really makes them feel good instead of just focusing on what other people are doing. I talked a lot about comparisons. So I hope that people learn how to kind of trust their own gut.
Thank you, everyone. I'm so excited for all the work we've been doing and for all these videos to go live throughout the school year on the app. There are a couple more questions in the chat. For the sake of time, I might ask some of the creators to respond within the chat. There was definitely some questions around creativity, and I know Polly did a lot around video editing and some beautiful time lapses. And also Christina asked what everyone's favorite video was, so maybe our creators want to respond in the chat to those questions. But just for the sake of time, we're going to actually jump to the next group. So we have two content creators in this group, Hadley and Michelle, and they worked with our video editor, Julia. So I'm really excited to introduce their series, and it's just so impactful and inspiring. So Michelle is a rising senior at Middlebury College studying psychology and mathematics. She plans to pursue a PhD in clinical psychology with a focus on adolescent grief and trauma. Staying true to her interest, Michelle partnered with Hadley to create a video series discussing types of grief, coping mechanisms, and ways to move on after difficult life experiences. Hadley Winslow is a 20-year-old psychology student at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. She is from Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina, and is a proud sister to Kaylee and Marley, and the daughter of Heidi and Tim. Hadley enjoys working out, spending time with friends, traveling, hanging out with her family, and getting outside in nature as much as she can. She joined Neolth to bring awareness to the importance of mental health, as she recently lost her long-term boyfriend. By sharing her story, she hopes that we will all start to genuinely enjoy each second we get with this world and with the people around us. So Hadley and Michelle did a really special project that they collaborated on a video series. So what you're going to be seeing is one video from their combined video series. This video is called The Meaning of Loss, and it features two grieving college students who share their perspectives and experiences.
Hi to all who are watching. My name is Hadley Winslow, and the video series that my group has been working on this summer is based on the topic of loss.
Hey guys, my name's Michelle. I'm a junior at Middlebury College studying psychology and math. Like Hadley, I also have experienced some difficult losses, so I thought it was a really important topic to dive into as a way to reduce stigma and just help people feel more comfortable in sharing their difficult life experiences.
The question that comes up first for many people is simply, what is loss? As someone who is currently finding myself in a troubled period in my own grief journey, it is important to discuss what I personally believe loss is. If we were to base it off the Merriam-Webster dictionary's definition of loss, loss is the act or fact of being unable to keep or maintain something or someone. I would have to slightly disagree with this dictionary's definition of loss, as some people who do not have the opportunity to keep and maintain someone that they lost if the loss were an accident or even a decision made by the person themselves.
Loss can be sudden, or it can be a slow decline of that person's presence in your life, but either way, in my experience, one day you wake up realizing you miss some aspect of their company, or you fall asleep wishing you could talk to them but finding you can't anymore.
For me, I believe that loss is the realization that something or someone that played a crucial part in one's life is sadly no longer there.
I think it can be really hard to define loss, as it's experienced in so many different ways, like loss of family or relationships, community, or even some sort of loss within yourself. But at its core, it consists of someone or something leaving or being taken from you that enables some sort of grieving process. And while everyone expresses grief differently, it is something all people deal with at some point in their lives, yet feels nearly impossible to prepare for.
The effects of loss can be detrimental. When I lost my long-term boyfriend to suicide in February of this year, my world just stopped, and I felt completely, utterly hopeless and alone.
When I was 14, I lost my mom to cancer. She was one of the most steadfast, reliable aspects of my life, not to mention my best friend, so losing her was completely life-altering. Along with her presence and guidance, I lost the security of having a mother and every little thing she did to make my life easier. So I quickly realized I needed to learn some resilience and independence if I wanted to truly rebuild my spirit. This loss was absolutely detrimental to my life and my future because of how permanent it is. And to this day, I wake up missing her or thinking about her or just wishing I could ask for her old blueberry pie recipe. Losses like these are heartbreaking and impossible to forget and unavoidably shape who you'll become as a person.
To this day, I still feel numb to everything that comes my way, as if nothing can hurt me more than the pain that I still feel from losing the love of my life only a couple of months ago. One of the most painful feelings that I felt so far was that losing him was final. There was nothing that I could do or say that could get him back in my life. Losing him has made me question every aspect of not only myself, but the life that I had known before losing him. Whether the loss is expected or not expected, the emotions that result from a loss can make you question your purpose on this earth as to why you might still be here, but the person that you lost is no longer here.
When you lose someone important, you lose a fraction of yourself that you may never truly heal or move on from. And instead, you have to learn how to fill in that gap and go on despite your grief and become a stronger person because of it while not letting that grief define you.
When others who have not experienced loss are learning to be an aid to those who have, trying to understand what it truly means to lose someone can help. Losing someone that was either a part of your monthly, weekly, or even your day-to-day routine can make you feel completely out of control of your life. I believe that many people who have undergone a loss can testify that it has affected them in a certain way that possibly may not be replicated in the same way by someone else. For me, the loss that I have gone through has formed me into an individual that hopes to rescue others that find themselves in a similar situation from the deep holes that grief can possibly lead to.
I truly think that I'm a stronger, more resilient, and independent person because of the losses I've experienced than I would have been otherwise. I feel like I was thrust into a role of responsibility and maturity at a young age, and difficult as it was, I'm proud of myself for making it through it. As I've grown up and am trying to get through daily hardships at school, with friends, or in other relationships, I think my losses have given me a lot more perspective on what is important to me. Because when you experience true hardships, the little things that were once difficult matter a lot less, and you realize who in your life is important, what you should hold on to tightly, and what is not worth your time anymore. I feel like I've had enough grief and stress already that I know how to surround myself with things and people who will only continue to uplift me instead of bringing me down.
There are days that I feel devastation, exhaustion, anger, confusion, hopelessness, loneliness, and the list can go on. But there are days that I feel somewhat myself again. And I remember that the person that I lost would want me to live out the rest of my following days in an unforgettable way in honor of them. I never asked to go through the loss that I have. And frankly, I would never ask to go through the loss that I have. But I will say that I have gained a new passion to help others if found in a similar situation by promoting genuine, honest thoughts based on my testimony and my experience with loss.
Thank you, Hadley and Michelle, for sharing that really, really beautiful video with us, and Julia for doing such an amazing job editing it and making those stories come to life. Um, like the rest of the group, Hadley and Michelle will have a full video series that we'll be releasing on our app this school year, talking about their experiences, and it's incredibly powerful. So we're so grateful to them for sharing their stories and for working with us through this internship. Unfortunately, Michelle couldn't be here with us today, but Hadley is here and Julia, our video editor, is here as well. So we'd love to bring them to our virtual stage for a bit of a Q&A. So please do share any questions that you have in the chat. And my first question for Hadley and Julia is, what was it like being on camera talking about your story? And for you, Julia, what was it like editing these videos?
Being on camera at first was really nerve-wracking, especially because I started the internship about a couple of months after I lost him. So it was kind of weird to be just so open with a phone screen and then having it presented to random people. It was very out of my comfort zone, but as time went on, my confidence grew and each video became easier.
I feel like with editing these videos, from our first meeting in our committee, we really found that we had similar situations. So we more so like gained a different connection with each other and really use each other as almost like a support group. So as each video went on, we were able to kind of like share our own stories within each other. And this was a lot easier because we were able to talk about what we were comfortable with and what we wanted to share and kind of just make something really important.
Thank you both for sharing. I have one more question. Like I said, anyone else, put questions in the chat, feel free. What is an important takeaway from making these videos? What do you hope to help other students with?
Grief is something that can hit you out of nowhere, and with everything that goes on as a student, like it can really stop you in your tracks. So I advise any students on this call to just take each day as a blessing and surround yourself with people that make you happy and like can get you through the tough times in college. And if you find yourself in a situation of grief, really tune into yourself and your needs, and then just keep moving forward.
I feel like another big takeaway, which is one of the big reasons why we made this a combined series instead of an individual, was because it showed how grief can go in different ways and it all goes in different paces and different coping mechanisms. And I saw with editing these videos, the series really highlights the different ways someone could cope with grief.
Thank you, Julia and Hadley, for sharing that with us. It's really a beautiful series that you've put together. I know will be so meaningful and help so many students. So again, so grateful that you joined us in this internship and were vulnerable and shared your stories. I have, I guess, one question for the combined group. So all of our interns and content creators, before we go into a bit of a closing activity, I've heard a lot of you talk about how this internship, what you were hoping to do, how you were hoping to help other students, and ultimately that was the goal of this internship, was to help other students and break down stigma. But we've heard from a few of you that it was also really helpful for you as well to share your own story and reflect on that and build some resilience. So just wondering if anyone wants to comment on that, how you felt like sharing your story was helpful for your own mental health journey.
For me, sometimes it's not talked about all the time, like what I'm going through. So being able each week to like write a script and video myself talking about what I feel about what I'm currently experiencing has like been a way of coping for me when others may not want to talk about it or it doesn't get brought up in conversation.
I think one thing that this filming this video series really helped me with was that there's realizing that there's no shame in past experiences or things that you've been through. And as long as you learn and grow from these experiences, like you shouldn't hold on to this guilt or shame, and instead just learn it as use it as a growing point and use those experiences to help others if you can.
Thank you, everyone, for sharing your experiences with us and your content. I think we can all agree that this is just an incredible group of students. Their work is so inspiring, and here at Neolth, we're truly so proud of them. As we close this event, I do want to give our audience, our ambassadors, our family members, and the rest of the Neolth team some time to share their thoughts with the content creators. So for the next couple minutes, we want to give you that opportunity. Audience members, if you have any words of encouragement, if you feel like you've learned something today, if you're proud of these students, we encourage you to take some time now to share that in the chat, or if you'd like to come off of mute and share that with them. So anyone from the Neolth team as well, if you're proud of these students or want to share that with them, now is your time. Thank you.
I'm Hadley's sister. I don't want to be too long, but I just wanted to say thank you so much. This was so powerful to listen to all of your stories and hearing sort of how you all cope with various issues. And I just feel blessed to have been a part. So thank you. Good job, Hadley.
I just wanted to thank you all for the amazing work you did. I'm Claire. I'm the Chief Medical Officer at Neolth, and I had the good fortune to get to meet with these wonderful people every other week during their internship. And I am just so, it's been a real process from our first meeting to this moment here with the premiere and seeing what you all did. And again, I cried at the drop of a hat. And so I've been crying this whole time. And I'm so proud of you and so happy for you. And I just hope that this experience was everything that you wanted it to be. And that, anytime we can be of service to you, we're there for you. So thanks again for everything you've done.
See a few things coming in the chat. I'll just read quickly for Ariel. Hi, Ariel, one of our fabulous ambassadors, says thank you everyone for sharing. The stories and videos were amazing. We couldn't agree more. From Christina, who's a member of our Neolth team, these videos are so wonderful and will help so many people. Thank you all for sharing your stories. Thank you everyone for sharing. I loved hearing from you. Margaret, was really an interesting way to showcase your body positivity. We thought so too. It was very creative. Glad to be on your subcommittee. So the subcommittee is a group that the student ambassadors work on a body positivity project. And all the other videos were fruitful and enriching. Thank you everyone once again. And thank you for sharing your stories with us. It definitely made me feel like I'm not alone. I hope it can do the same with many others. You're all so inspiring. Couldn't agree more. Also agree with Claire that I want to tear up. We are so proud of these students. We are so proud of them being vulnerable and participating in the first of its kind internship. We'd never done this before. They were so open to it. They were so ready to just kind of pave the way with us and figure out how we can break down stigma. We're really just so proud of them. So as I mentioned a couple times, each of these students has spent the summer creating an entire video series. Today was really just a preview. So if you liked what you saw, and I know you all did, we're going to be releasing their videos throughout the year on our app. So make sure that you're checking out our community section, our student stories. That's where these will premiere. We're just so excited to see how many students these will help. We know it's going to be really impactful. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us. That marks the end of our event today. A big thanks to all of our student content creators and the video editors who made this showcase possible. We have so much appreciation and gratitude for you. I'm going to stop the recording and the meeting. If anybody wants to stay on for a few more minutes, you're welcome to, but thanks everyone for joining us.